So today we continue with our class Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. We continue with Sefer Chaim, and the topic is the same: believe in Rechilus. So it says public revelations and suspicious silence. One may not believe Rechilus, even if it was related in public. In fact, a person is unafraid to publicly relate the information that is cause for ill will, is not proof that authenticity, and certainly not of its accuracy. So just because somebody is brazen, right, as we say, he has a chutzpah, and he speaks publicly against anybody, does not make him right. So but sometimes, like somehow people believe, they say, it says on internet, right? Or somebody is speaking loud, does not make him right, and does not make the information true, does not make information accurate or anything. Furthermore, even an accusation is made in the presence of the subject, and the accused fails to respond. Right? He does not respond. Does not mean that he's acknowledging it is true. Right? Whatever said is true against him. One may not interpret his silence as self-incrimination. The person may have been flustered and a loss of words, like a shock, like how could you say so, right? Or he may have chosen to remain silent rather than cause the escalation of the verbal abuse hurled at him, right? Or he's just afraid of that person. That's it. I mean, it does not make the other person right. Very interesting. Okay, stop here. Okay, so we continue with our laws of Zimun, and I have also have my Siddur here. And it's Siman number 45, and we're going to start with CF 11. So it's CF is like Halach 11. And just to remind ourselves, so we're learning about this Zimun procedure when three adult males, right, ate together bread. So now they have to combine to say special praise, special formula of praise to HaShem, before officially starts Bircas Hamazon. And I mean, now it's a part of Bircas Hamazon, and one of them is going to lead the rest of them. So let's see. Halacha number 11. Three people who have eaten together, since they are obligated to recite Zimun blessing, they're not permitted to separate, because if group is dissolved, the Zimun is no longer possible. So meaning what? They're not allowed to separate. So if they ate together as the same meal, right, they cannot separate. So basically they can ask one another to wait, or maybe to hurry up and finish the meal earlier if somebody or some of them need to leave. But they have to stay, until they finish the Zimun. Likewise, when 4 or 5 people have eaten together, even one of them is not permitted to recite Birkas Hamazon on his own, even though the rest of them would still be able to perform Zimun, because all of them are obligated to recite Zimun. Therefore, even though his reciting of Birkas Hamazon on his own does not cause the other to lose the opportunity to Zimun, he must remain in order to fulfill his own obligation. So it's very interesting. So now, until now, we were talking about groups of 3 people, right? That was the discussion. 3 people and up. So, but now say, okay, there are 4 people, and if one guy, he needs to go to work, he needs to go somewhere, right? Let's say it's we eat breakfast together, right? So he needs to go to work, so he's not allowed to leave, even though even if he leaves, we have 3 people. That's enough. We don't need them. But he has his personal obligation to combine with us for a zimun. But if they are a group of 6 or more, up until a group of 10, they may separate into 2 groups of at least 3 each, because enough people will remain in each group to perform a zimun. So up to 10 people. So let's say if you have nine people, so you can break up in 3 groups. For example, like 3 people need to leave early. They don't want to wait until everybody else finishes. There is no problem. So do your zimun with other people, and leave. It's very often it's it is the case with the circumcision in the morning. With bris milah, sometimes they delay a little, and people need to go to work. They need to leave the shul like by 7:30 in the morning. That's it. I mean, in a place where I pray, for example, right? So we finish by 7. By 7, almost everybody's gone. So, but let's say there is a circumcision. So by 7:30, some people need to leave 100%, but other people can stay a little later, right? So that would be the case. Continue. Number 12. If there are 10 who have eaten together, they are obligated to recite the Zimun blessing with Hashem's name. So now we're going to on the next level of holiness. If there are 10 people, 10 men ate together, so that now they have to say this same blessing, same text, but they actually ate Hashem's name. There is a leader of the blessing says, let us bless our God, of whose we have eaten, etc. Okay. But he should not say, let us bless to God, to our God. I'm not sure. Okay. So it says, let us bless our God, of whose we have eaten. That's the proper language. The diners reply, blessed is our God, of whose we have eaten, etc. Okay. So it says in commentary, this is then repeated by the leader each time of the word Elokeinu, our God, is added to the standard blessing. So that's only one word, but it changes everything. So in order to leader to show, right, and the sound that he agrees with whatever other people say, he has to repeat everything that they respond. Since they are obligated to recite Zimun blessing with Hashem's name, they are forbidden to separate into more than one group. So of course, if you have 10 to 20 people, there is no problem, right? But otherwise, there would not be allowed to separate. Because why? Because that's a special level of holiness. 10 people. Commentary: the Zimun blessing for 3 people does not contain Hashem's name. That's very important. Whereas the name is added for 10 or more. So it's actually in our Siddur, if you check, it says in parentheses, right? So if you have 10, you say this word Elokeinu. If not, don't say it. Since the blessing is more exalted than when 10 people ate together, it is prohibited to disband the group if not enough people will remain in order to allow the mention of Hashem's name in the blessing. See Mishnah Berurah 193:16. That's how it is important to stay together. So I guess before, so not to put oneself in a situation. Okay, they, for example, as I said, that this is an example of circumcision. Okay, maybe the baby was late. Not baby. Maybe they brought baby a little late. Maybe he had to nurse a little longer. Maybe, I don't know, the moil is late. I don't know. Sometimes it's possible that somebody would be late, and if you need to go to work, so just go. Don't start the meal. But if you want to start the meal, you have to understand that's the procedure. You will not be able to leave earlier, so you have to choose, like, plan a little ahead. And same with all other meals. Or for example, if you attended the wedding, so let's say the wedding is going to be until I don't know, 3 in the morning, and you have to go to work tomorrow. You have to get up at 4:30. Of course, you're not going to stay till 3 in the morning. So of course you're going to leave. I don't know, at 10 p.m., 9:30 p.m. Let's say, right? So you would need to find a group of people, preferably 10 people, who are ready to leave, or at least 3 people, and do Bircas Hamazon with them. You cannot just leave and say it on your own. It's proper to do Zimun. So one more time. So we said, so if there are 10 people, right, you're not allowed to separate, right, unless there are 20 or more people in that group. At which point they may separate into 2 groups of 10 or more people or more. So I mean, that would be with the wedding. So find 10 people who are willing to bench now, and usually announce, like, quietly. Of course, you don't want to, like, show to the bride and groom that you leave in early, but you can arrange this Zimun. Because enough people will remain in each group to recite Zimun with Hashem's name. So you do 10 of you are going to do Zimun at 9:30 p.m. All others, let them stay till the morning. Okay, you don't care. Continue. 55. Next, Sif is 13. If one who leads the Zimun with 10 people erred, and those who responded to his blessing erred as well, and they did not mention the name of Hashem in the Zimun blessing, they may not return to the beginning and recite the Zimun again with Hashem's name. That's it. You erred, you just continue. Okay. This is because they have fulfilled the obligation of Zimun. So even though they did not have said Hashem's name, but they say of whose food we ate. That's enough. It's understandable who you're talking about. But they have lost the mitzvah of mentioning Hashem's name. That's a big mitzvah, and it is a twisted thing that cannot be straightened. It's very interesting. So commentary said that the phrase used here from Koheles 1:15, and refers to, among other things, a lost opportunity to perform a mitzvah that cannot be regained. See Bircas 26a, Chagiga 9b. So many times you have a mitzvah, you have mitzvah opportunity. Okay, you wanna do mitzvah, you can do mitzvah now. 10 minutes from now, that's it. That's too late. Okay. So continue. However, so it's very important point, I guess, to keep in mind that twisted thing cannot be straightened. So you had the opportunity to learn, I don't know, whatever we have to learn, whatever your plan is, and all of us should have a learning schedule. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Right? Then we have to adhere as strict as possible to that schedule. Otherwise, it's only a matter of time until it dissolves completely. Right? So remember, if I'm going to miss today, that's it. There is no tomorrow. Tomorrow, even though you said, yeah, I'm going to do the double tomorrow, it's not going to work. However, if those who are to respond have not yet responded to him, since the mitzvah of Zimun has not yet been fulfilled, the reader should go back to the beginning and recite the Zimun with Hashem's name. That's very interesting idea. So the leader said, but he did not mention Hashem's name. It's It's possible. For example, he usually eats in a smaller group, right? Not everybody have opportunity to eat with a group of 10 every day, or like even once a week, let's say. Right? So he just said the regular language without Hashem's name, but everybody kept quiet. They did not respond, so he can always go back because the mitzvah is not finished. So the mitzvah is that he is saying, and we respond to him, and then he repeats and continues. That's the whole. That's the complete mitzvah. So if he said and we did not respond, it's not complete mitzvah. So he can go back and say it with Hashem's name. I mean, I think it's very practical. People do forget things. 57 commentary. If the assembled did respond with Hashem's name, then when the leader repeats second sentence of the blessing, he should recite Hashem's name. So which is what? Blessed is our God, of whose we have eaten, and through His goodness we live. His goodness, it's Mishnah Brora 192:10, which makes sense. So he said without Hashem's name. We responded to him with Hashem's name, which is correct. And then when he repeats after that, he repeats with Hashem's name, which is fixing the issue. Okay. Any questions on what we said so far? Okay, so let's continue. Then number 14. If 7 people have eaten bread and 3 others have eaten fruit, 7 people eaten bread, 3 others have eaten fruit, okay, or have drank a beverage in the manner that they are obligated to recite a bracha achrana, right? They may form a group of 10 and recite Zimun with Hashem's name. So it's very interesting. So as we said before, not all 10 people obligated to take to partake of bread, but they are obligated to eat of the same meal. So now 7 people eaten bread, and 3 others eaten fruit. Okay, so and they obligated in bracha achrana. So bracha achrana, we said actually even yesterday we said, so meaning that they ate minimum kizayis, meaning 1 ounce, approximately 28 grams, right? Or if we're talking about drinks, they drank revi'is. So revi'is, we said approximately 2.9 ounces, it's 86 grams approximately, right? And we said preferably this kizayis is eaten in 3.3 to 4 minutes, and this revi'is is drank in 3 sips tops. Okay, so that would be according to all of the opinions. Okay, so they can join together. Right, one second. In this situation, all agree that partaking of fruit or beverage is sufficient for the additional members to become joined in a group of 10. So let's see commentary. This contrasts the above C of 10, where a Kitzur cites a dispute whether eating fruit or drinking beverage is sufficient to enable the third person to become part of the group of 3. So there the case is a little different. In that case, if we say that fruit is enough to eat, or some beverage is enough to drink, so for him to join us, so then the whole Zimun is valid, right? If not, the whole Zimun is not valid. Here is a little different situations. Here in our case, when you have 7 people who ate bread and 3 people who ate fruit, Zimun is valid anyway. So the only difference is whether or not we are allowed to add Hashem's name. use Hashem. That's the only difference. So that's why he said all agree, because it's like a totally different situation. Continue. It is a mitzvah to seek people to complete the 10 necessary to recite Zimun blessing with the name of Hashem. However, if only 6 of the 10 present have eaten bread, they may not recite Zimun with Hashem's name. So 7 people is good, 6 people is not good, right? So for example, if the 7 people ate, so they can 8 or 8 at night. I would say 8 or 9 people ate, so they can seek another person, ask him to join them, eat a little. I mean, a little, but enough for them to be obligated in after blessing, right? Or drink. And then they can say Zimun with Hashem's name. But they say, very interesting, 6 people is not enough. Even 6 people is majority in the cases of prayers, so we actually pray with them, right? If we have 6 people who did not pray, so we can join for a million, right? With 4 people who did pray, right? If I remember correctly, and we can pray and say all of these necessary things, right? That you can say only with a million, but here is not. Here we say 7. Okay, so one more time the sentence, and we're going to see the commentary. However, if only 6 of 10 present have eaten bread, they may not recite the Zimun with the name of Hashem, because in order to warrant the mention of Hashem's name, distinctive majority is necessary. So 60. At least 7 participants must have eaten bread. So they do not give the definition of distinctive majority, but in some other halachas, so we actually say if it's only 6, so it's not clear, but it's 7. So you see, for sure, you just look around the room, and it's more obvious that you have majority. If you have my majority only in 1, it's not so clear. Majority of 2 out of 10, that's it's more visible, more apparent to people that majority ate bread or did some other things, did some other action. That's the rationale. Continue, number 15. If we have, as we have seen previously in CF 11 and 12, okay, once a group has eaten together and has become obligated in Zimun, they may not separate in a manner that will cause the members of the group to lose the opportunity for Zimun. Right, as we said, whether 3 people or 10 people, not like, okay, everybody understand you need to go to work, but well, let's say in examples that I was given, but other people are going to lose opportunity to pray because of you. So I say, like, every time, like people would try to like cut corners and do like run to work, something is going to happen. What is going to happen? You're going to be late. You're going to be stuck in traffic. The road that you usually fly at that time, like there's no cars. Guess what? They're going to close 2 lanes out of 3. That's it. And you're going to stay, like, get stuck for half an hour instead of taking 3 minutes. It's going to take you half an hour, exactly what you would spend, like without warning, if you ate with these people, enjoy your meal and say Zimun. Guaranteed. I mean, not guaranteed, but or is something is going to happen at work for sure. So it's better not to be the one who like prevent people from opportunity to serve Hashem. Don't never be in that situation. Even though you calculate, I'm going to lose this, that, somebody is going to be angry with me. Just call your boss, text him, and say, I'm going to be late, 15 minutes late, 20 minutes late. Right, that's it. Or don't say just come to work late. and stay over. Stay over 20 minutes, whatever, or work during your lunch break, so the company is not going to lose. Continue. That's what I used to do in my workplace, right? So, in this CF, the Kitzur defines the criteria that determine whether a group is considered to be joined as one for these purposes. Okay, so what is the definition of the group, and in which case we are not allowed to separate? So let's see. In any situation where the minimum of 3 people have eaten together, even if they did not eat the entire meal together, but sat down to eat, and recite the blessing of Hamotzi upon the bread, even if each person is eaten from his own loaf of bread, the halacha is that since they have set themselves together at the onset of the meal, whether they are a group of 3 or 10, they may not separate. So we're going to see the commentary now, but as we said, it's not necessary, as we just read, it's not strictly necessary that somebody provide you with a meal, somebody is hosting you. Right? You all could be eating your own bread, but you eating as a group. So what would be the example? Maybe in a cafeteria you have a Jewish company, right? And you have a lunch break, and you go on a lunch break. So all of them all people bring their own lunch from home. They eat together, but they sit at the same tables and they talk. They share the Torah or whatever they do, right? So in this case, it's the same group, even though you ate your own bread. So it's you have 10 people together, 3 people. They may not separate. Commentary: when people set themselves down together to eat meal at one table, they are considered one group for Zimun purposes. Members of the household who are eaten with the head of the household are considered to be one group, even if they are not seated at the same table. See Mishnah Brura. So maybe they split in a few tables. Does not make any difference. So that's because it's one family, one household, still considered to be they said at one table. Travelers who eat together in one vehicle may also recite Zimun blessing after their meal. However, if the 10 are present in such a situation, they should omit mention Hashem's name. One more time. Travelers who eat together in one vehicle may also recite Zimun blessing after their meal. However, even if 10 are present in such a situation, they should omit Hashem's name. So they say, see chapter CF 26. So I'm not sure. I think, we're going to see further, but I think that they have to see each other. For example, this is not going to work on a plane, right? When we have tall seats, and so you cannot see each other, even though everybody eats at the same time, right? Let's say it's a Jewish flight. You're going, I don't know where you're going. You're going to Israel. So you have Elal. You have most of the people are Jewish. That's majority of the people are Jewish. Of course, there are more than 10 men, or at least 10 men can sit in one area, but still you cannot see each other. It's very interesting. But I guess in the bus, when you don't have such a big seats, or some somewhere on a boat or somewhere, so you would be able to join together. It's very interesting. So one second. So we did 61. So continue. Even if one of them wishes to conclude the meal before the other have concluded theirs, they are not permitted to separate. Okay, you can finish your meal. You can. There is no problem. Nobody is forcing you to eat another 10 minutes, 15 minutes. But you're not allowed to separate from the zimun, right? Just because you finish eating, you have to stay and say Bircas with everybody else. So commentaries say one who attends a meal, such as a wedding or other events, from which he needs to leave early and cannot wait for the zimun at the end of the meal, should stipulate specifically before he sits down to eat that he does not intend to join together with others present. In case he can recite Birkas Hamazon on his own, and is not required to wait for the zimun at the end of the meal. Igros Moshe. So it's very interesting. So if you stipulate, like in the beginning, so I came to this wedding, I have only half an hour. I have a class to attend. I have a lecture to attend. I have to do homework with my children. Okay, half an hour I have. So, but of course I'm not going to stay till 3 in the morning. I have to leave at 8, right? Let's say, okay, at 8. So yeah, you have to stipulate that I'm not staying. So in this case, you're not obligated even to look for zimun. I mean, I would say it's proper. If you know other people, you ask who else is living soon. So join for zimun with do zimun with them. However, if they did not set themselves down together with at the beginning of the meal, but rather after 2 people already began to eat, even if they had only eaten kizayas, the third person arrived and set himself down with them, then it is compared. Then if he completed the meal with them, they are obligated to perform the zimuns together. So now it's a little different situation. So 2 people start eating together. So another person come a little later. Maybe it was not a plan for him to eat. Maybe he came to somebody else's house. So, oh, you're also here? So I want to stay. Okay, no problem. So you want to stay, and they finish the meal together, even though it was not the plan. We have to understand it was not the plan in the beginning. So, but after the fact, he's staying over, and he has to join with them for zimun. But if the third person wishes to conclude his meal before them, since he did not begin eating with them, and also did not conclude his meal with them, he is permitted to separate from them and recite Birkas Hamazon on his own. So as we said, it was not initial idea that we're going to join for a zimun. Maybe they were planning to ask somebody to join with them, but this guy came late and later, and he wants to finish early. There is no problem. He's not obligated to stick around because there was no zimun to begin with. It's not like he's breaking anything, right? Okay, that's the idea. Commentary. The other 2 may also conclude their meal without waiting for the third person. So if they wishes, there is no problem. If they finish on together, 3 of them together, then they are obligated to say Birkas Hamazon zimun together. If this one guy finished early, or these 2 people finish early, there is no problem. They're not obligated. So that's a very interesting way out. If they in rush, right? So it says the other 2 may also conclude their meal without waiting for the third person. However, if they finish eating but did not recite Birkas Hamazon until the third person also completed the meal, and the first 2 would still have an interest in eating a bit of the dessert at that point, if it were served, they must now recite the zimun together. Mishnah Berurah 193 and 19. And it's very interesting. So as we had this expression before, if still can eat something else, they're not so full that would eat. If they would, somebody would bring a cake, they would eat the cake or some ice cream, paref, of course, or some other things that they would eat, right? Even though they're not eating, but they finish their meal, they still have room to eat, but they're not eating. The third guy finished now, so they can join if they want. They can join. No, not if they want. They must now join to recite Zimun together. That's obligation, must. Okay, continue. If one of the diners who ate together is forced to leave before other two have completed their meal, or if he fears that he will suffer financial loss if he does not leave immediately, even if he sat himself down to eat with them at the beginning of the meal, he is permitted to conclude his meal before them and recite Birkas Hamazon on his own. So if it's, I guess, like such a pressing situation, so he's not going to be able to concentrate. He's going to be like nervous and rush everybody else. So we say, like, just let him do whatever he wants. Just leave. Don't drive everybody crazy. 64 commenter. The Mishnah Brura 205 writes that in this case it is preferable that the other two interrupt their meal to allow the Zimun to be recited by the third, although they are not obligated to do so. Okay, that's very interesting. So we try, as we said in the beginning, so we try to accommodate each other. He needs to go. Okay, so you can stop eating for now, right? Interrupt your meal. Let him say Birkas Hamazon, right? You answer, and then after some procedure, let's say you can continue with the meal. There is no problem. Continue. However, if the issue is not pressing, one must be stringent and remain for the Zimun. That's what it is. Okay. Any questions on what we said? 1 second. What happened? So meaning, don't break the Zimun. Don't take the opportunity from other people. All right. So that's in a nutshell. But of course, the things are much deeper. Okay. So 16. It's very long. Wow. Very long topic. A lot of details. Now, number 16. Regarding three people who have eaten together and obligated to join for Zimun, eating together, obligated to join for Zimun, and one of them forgot about this obligation and recited Birkas Hamazon on his own. How is it possible? Commentary. The same laws apply one who intentionally did not wait for Zimun. Okay. So one of them, the three people, and one of them forgot and already said Birkas Hamazon. So some people, as we said before, that they know Birkas Hamazon by heart, and they say it so fast, so you just look around or you sneeze 3 times and they'll already finish. So you say, for example, it's, I apologize, I forgot, I already said Birkas Hamazon. Right? So it's very interesting. So if he forgot and said the Birkas Hamazon by himself, right? Or as a commentary say, or he intentionally, that was his intention, he was planning to leave earlier. The halacha is that they may still perform Zimun together. So even though they say Birkas Hamazon, they can still join. I mean, they just answer, right? And answer to the leader. Of course, this guy cannot be a leader, but he can answer. After the one who forgot to wait completes Birkas Hamazon, right? So, I mean, he can join with us. Okay. He also responds with blessed is he of whose we have eaten, right? Because it is true. He ate, right? Commentary. After the Zimun blessing, the other two continue with Birkas Hamazon. The same halacha applies with the group is larger. For example, so I mean, so he did his part with the Zimun. That's it. But The rest of Birkas Hamazon is standard for everybody. Does not matter. You ate as a group or you ate by yourself. Does not make any difference. So he just did the Zimun, just answering to the leader, and that's it. He fulfilled his obligation. So commentary. After Zimun blessing, the other two continue with Birkas Hamazon, but he already said it, as we said. The same halacha applies when the group is larger. For example, if a group of 4 were eaten, and 2 people mistakenly recite Birkas Hamazon by themselves, without the Zimun. Okay, 4 and 2 say, okay, without the Zimun. They may rejoin the previous group to recite the Zimun. So it's Mishnah Berurah 194.1. See therefore the further discussion. If 3 people out of the group of 10 recited Birkas Hamazon, they may join the group and recite Zimun with Hashem's name. It's very interesting. So out of 10, 3 people did the Zimun, and they're about to leave and say, excuse me, where exactly are you going? We have a Zimun. Said, we already said, no, stay with us. We're going to say the Zimun now with Hashem's name, and you can respond. So because, as we said, it's a clear majority, 7 people. Continue. However, if he had, one second, before we said however, let me read from the beginning of the sentence, so we have continuation. So from the beginning, it says, regarding 3 people who have eaten together and are obligated to join in Zimun, and one of them forgot about the obligation and recited Birkas Hamazon on his own, right? We said that. The halacha is that they may still perform the Zimun together. After the one who forgot to wait completes Birkas Hamazon. Okay, so doesn't matter, so he can join with us, and we say even 3 people. He also responds, the blessing blesses he of whose we have eaten. Okay, so that's what we commented so far. Continue. However, we had joined 2 others to recite Zimun. He can no longer join the Zimun with these 2 from the first group. Okay, so commentary. There is he joined 2 others who were eaten and recited Zimun with them. So let's say that these 3 people were supposed to eat together, and they sat down. And now this guy, he needed to leave early, and he saw another group that already finished. So said, okay, let me join with you, and I'm going to say Birkas Hamazon with you, Zimun with you. So he said with the second group. So this guy cannot go back to the first group, his original group. What is the problem? So the problem is very clear. He's not. He already fulfilled his obligation on Zimun. You cannot do it twice, right? And in the previous cases, we said he said Birkas Hamazon by himself. He did not do Zimun. Zimun is only when you have 3 people or more. So that's the difference. So Kitzur said he can no longer join the Zimun with those of the first group. That's it. It's a missed opportunity. If 2 of the original 3 recited Birkas Hamazon, 2 of the 3 recited Birkas Hamazon, even if they did so on their own, that is, they did not join with another person to perform Zimun, a group of 3, the opportunity to recite the Zimun is lost. That's very sad. So for one person, it's not lost because he's still minority of the 3. But if 2 people, like they said Birkas Hamazon on their own, so they cannot no longer do the Zimun with a 3rd guy. Okay, so it's very interesting. So let's see. Any questions on what we said, or we continue? Tell me. Okay, so I mean that's the best when you have 2 sons, and you always say Zimun with them. I mean, if you try to eat together with them, and that's it. That's the best practice. Okay, so number 17. If three people have eaten together, and two of them have completed their meal and wish to recite Birkas Hamazon, and one has not yet completed his meal and does not yet wish to recite Birkas Hamazon. The one who has not yet completed the meal must interrupt his meal so that they may recite Birkas Hamazon with the Zimun. I mean, that's we said it before. It's just like common sense. You have a majority of the people. They need to go to work. They need to go wherever they need to go. It's not our business where they need to go. But okay, so finish early, and you can say Zimun with them, and Zimun as we said before, just let them talk. Let somebody else read, and if you want, you just listen, and that's it, right? You don't have to say it yourself if you plan on go back on eating. That's it. So it says, see Biur Halacha 200 and CF1 is uncertain whether two people who have no urgent reason for departing may compel their colleague to interrupt his meal. However, in any case, since he is a minority, it is proper for him to interrupt his meal in any case. So I would say, I mean, you have this golden opportunity. Who knows when you're going to get this opportunity again? So just interrupt your meal. Birkat Hamazon does not take such a long time, especially Zimun does not take such a long time. And praise HaShem, and that's it. I mean, you have a blessed day. What could be better, right? Like this person said, he was asking me questions, all of this strange question about the breakfast, and I could not understand what kind of breakfast. For me, it's like this breakfast is bigger than my dinner, right? So and I was so he has a breakfast like 30 to 45 minutes every morning, and he has to prepare eggs, and he has to eat this and that. He's a big guy and stuff like that. So and he's very, very specific, very, very particular about his breakfast. I don't know. In my house, we were specific that particular about Shabbos meal, but not about like Monday or Tuesday breakfast. That's not even dinner. That's a little too much, right? But so such a person, I just thought about that person. So if you try to ask him to finish early, I'm not sure if he's going to budge. I don't think so. That's because the food is so important for that person. Hopefully he changed, but at that point I could not understand how is it even possible. Continue. When he should respond to the Zimun with them, so this one guy who was compelled, that's fulfill the obligation of Zimun. He should then wait until the leader has completed the first blessing, Birkas Hamazon. First blessing is very important. With the word Hazan as Hakol, right? And afterwards he may resume eating. As we said, he's not. He just joined with them for Zimun because he ate with them. Answer whatever you need to answer. Listen to the first blessing. As I said, you don't have to read yourself. Let him talk. It takes exactly the whole procedure 1 minute. So why? But some people are stubborn, right? Let him finish. Let the leader finish out loud, as we said, the first paragraph, and then you can go back to eating. He did not recite another bracha rishona, first blessing, on the food that he has eaten. That he is eating. Why? Because this guy was only joining other people just temporarily. He was not like in his mind. He was not interrupting his meal, since his intention was to continue eating. Right? Exactly. Right. So that's when he concludes his meal, he recites Birkas Hamazon himself. So this should be like his explicit intention. Even though it does not say here, but that's my understanding of things, because on one hand he's joined with others to say Birkas Hamazon, meaning the blessing after the meal, right? That's what grace after the meal, that's how they translate in English, right? On one hand we were showing that we finish eating, but it's not true. In the mind of that person, I'm just interrupting my meal to help these people, to say also to say the name of, no, not the name of HaShem, but and answer these Zimun blessings, and I'm going to back to eating. That's why he does not have to say any blessings before he started eating again. So why? Again, his meal session never interrupted. Okay, continue 69 commentary. In certain cases, when a person prepares to recite Birkas Hamazon, he has thus halachically concluded his meal and may not continue eating without reciting appropriate blessing upon each food. 42. Yeah. Okay. So we actually said that we explained it some time ago, right? So let's say he's a head of the household, and he said, okay, let's say Birkas Hamazon. So as soon as he said Birkas Hamazon, let's say Birkas Hamazon, that's the meal is over, not only for him but for everybody else. So now if somebody wants to, unless somebody had explicitly, I'm not going to say Birkas Hamazon, I didn't finish eating, I still want to drink, I have a little wine left over, have a little juice, apple juice left over, I want to finish it. So that's a different story. But otherwise, it's like it's conclusion of the meal. And if they change their mind, they have to say the blessing before eating any food, whatever they're going to eat. So whatever bread was covering and up until now, after he said this word, that's it. It's over. It's very interesting. So it's all depends on our action and our intention. So if you show with your action that you finished the meal, for example, you finish, your plate is clean, so you put a fork down, a knife down, you put your napkin on top of it, that's it, I'm finished, that's it, right? So it's also in some sense, it's like you finished, you're not going to eat any longer. So if you want to eat something else, maybe you're going to get a new clean plate, that's a different story. So you would have to say new blessings. Continue. Here the Kitzur explained that since he had intended to continue the meal, his response to Zimun blessing does not constitute the conclusion of the meal. So as we said, he just said the answer to the Zimun. He did not say Birkas Hamazon, right? His meal, and he may continue as before without reciting any blessing on the food that he eats. Nevertheless, Mishnah Brura and CF 200 Siman 200 CF 7 recite that if writes that if when responding to the Zimun he did not intend to continue eating, he must wash Nitalas Yadayim and recite the blessed Hamotzi again before resuming the meal. So as we said, but it's not just a suggestion, it's actually a halacha. So if he did not have any intention to continue eating, that's it. So this eating session is over. Of course, he's not obligated to recite Birkas Hamazon, but at least he has to go back, wash his hands, and say the blessing over the bread again. 69. Continue. However, if two people wish to continue eating and one does not, okay, so he needs to go. The two are not required to interrupt their meal for one person, which is the majority, right? Unless they wish to do so to accord him respect and go beyond the boundary of what is required by law. So by law, they're not obligated, but I think that there is an expression, what comes around, what goes around comes around. So today you majority and you say, okay, I'm not going to interrupt my meal because of you. So tomorrow you depended on him. So don't do that. Even though you're not obligated by law, but we have to, especially in simple cases when it's not such a big deal. So we have to go above the law and try to accommodate other people. However, if they have finished eating, they may not wait any longer to delay the third person. Okay, it's very interesting, right? One more time. However, if they have finished eating, they may not wait any longer to delay the third person. Okay, so they cannot just sit around and talk and say, no, I want to sit around, relax, and then say Bircas Hamazon. Okay, you finish eating. He needs to go, so accommodate him. Say Zimun and let him go. Okay, continue. If 10 people have eaten together and some wish to recite Birkas Hamazon, 10 people, 4 of them must interrupt for the sake of other 6. So, right, for majority. Because the 6 are majority, right, exactly. Those 4 who have, those 4 have to wait only until they have all said, "Blessed is our God," etc., and they may resume eating. Right, so only until whatever the Zimun finish. Okay, you can continue eating. After they have completed their meal, they should recite Birkas Hamazon preceded by the Zimun blessing of their own. So even though they participated in the Zimun, right, with the 10 people, but they did not say Birkas Hamazon. That's a totally separate case from what we said on the previous case, on the previous page when we said this. There were 3 people, and one of them separated, and he did Zimun with the other 2 people, so he cannot go back Zimun and Birkas Hamazon. So he cannot go back to the first group and do Zimun with them. That's too late. Unless he wants to eat again, and that's a different story, right? But here in this case, these 4 people, they joined with 6, but they were in their mind they were wanting to continue eating, right? And they did not say Birkas Hamazon. So even though they joined with the Zimun with 6 people, respond whatever they need to respond. Now they went back on eating. After they finished, they would make their own Zimun for 3 plus people, right? And they would say all of the blessings. No problem. No contradictions. Okay, so we finished. So let me check time. See if we can do more stuff. Okay, so we have a few minutes. So let me do one short one, and then we stop. So number 18, and it says at large feasts at which there are many people dining, someone with a strong voice should be selected to lead the blessing, and you cannot do it with a microphone. It's with a very strong voice, so that all those participating in the meal will hear the blessing from the one leading the blessing, at least until the completion of the first blessing of Birkas Hamazon Hazan Es HaKol. So it's very interesting. So it's like 60 people, 100 people, 500 people. So okay, they want to say together. Usually in the hall like that, it's very good acoustic because it's a Jewish hall, right? But still you need that per person very, very strong voice. And I saw people with when we were in Israel, in Jerusalem, in Slonim synagogue. It's huge. How high? It's like maybe 4 stories high, open space. Of course, there is women sections on the 3rd floor, I think, or something like that. Very, very, very high. So I mean, the person, people who are davening, very, very strong voice, right? Even with acoustics, it does not help much. I mean, it helps a lot, but very strong voice. If this is not possible, they should recite the Zimun and Birkas Hamazon blessing in a group of 10. So I mean, if we're not going to hear the leader who is leading us, how can we know when to respond? So we just break in a smaller groups. He said in groups on 10. I mean, if even bigger groups, no problem. Okay, so we can stop here. Number 19. Any questions on what we said or any topic? Go ahead. If you have any questions. Okay, no problem. No questions, so we stop. Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
This is all just for men, correct?
For men, yeah. 3 adult men over 13 years old. So
okay.
Yeah.
And that's the minimum is 3.
Yes, 3 and up. So the only difference is just in summary. So when 3 up to 10, you're doing standard version, but from 10 and up, so you add the name of HaShem. That's of course when you say the name of HaShem, that's a higher level of holiness, right? But that's it, yeah. And that they have to eat together. So as we said, not even necessarily the bread. So other person can eat fruit and join with us, or drink something. What is it? Some beverage. But even though that's acceptable, if somebody wants to go by the strictest opinion, so we try to give him mizonis, some piece of cake, some cookies. So he eats one kizayis, then it's going to be according to all of the opinions. Or give him bread. I mean, what is the big deal? Just eat bread, but to make it faster, if we ask somebody to join and he said, I don't want to eat bread, I don't want to wash hands. I mean, sometimes people make such a big deal out of it that for me, I don't know why is that. Me personally, I'm trying to eat bread every day, minimum 1 time a day. No, not minimum, one time a day. I don't eat twice a day bread, but I mean on regular day because of the opportunities to say to bless Hashem and thank Him. Why would you miss the opportunity? And especially when a group of other people need you to join them, so that's amazing opportunity. Why would you lose it? You understand? Okay. Any other questions? Any topic? Okay, no problem. So we stop here. So we continue tomorrow. We continue with Hilchas Talmud Torah. Thank you. Good night.